In fact, it's very much expected to go right for that standard triple tank, triple support. Interestingly enough, Element Mystic is going to be bringing out the Sombra, it looks like, from Doha. So again, that matchup is something to take note of, as GC Busan Wave are going to have to deal with that. And again, historically, the way that they do that is actually with McCree in terms of dealing with it holistically. So have to see if they're able to deal with it now as this standard 3-3.
Yeah, you sacrifice the Diva for the Sombra here of Doha, so at least that EMP will be that winning condition. But this first fight taking place in the middle of the map, about breaking down the Reinhardt shields, but Doha was trying to take a left side flank to see if he can maybe get a hack into the backline or even onto one of the tanks, at least take away some of these abilities to look for an opportunity for Element Mystic. But with 2 down, GC Busan will get the first cap, and Element Mystic just disengaging, taking it slow.
And look how little some of these players had to really do to actually get in there and deal the damage. I mean, a lot of that pressure was instantaneous. GC Busan Wave was really quick on the uptake, punishing there. And that's what I was talking about before, making sure that you have that reactive playstyle of being able to actually execute a punish on a mistake by Element Mystic. That can set you apart, and already they're getting the benefit.
So the benefit, oh, Doha again going down early, he's getting caught out, and you had a translocator, so it's pretty rare to see a Sombra dying first. When you have that extra mobility, you're invisible, you got so many tools to get out of situations like that. But at least Element Mystic are working up towards EMP, but they'll be walking into a shatter from Ion.
Yeah, that is a huge win condition, that EMP. Doha needs to generate that rather quickly if they want any chance of getting in here. But he is, again, just so under pressure by Free, who's just been diving up at him constantly.
Sparkle? Okay, EMP starts out first from Element Mystic. Everyone is hacked. Ion is down. Delight, Daydream out of the fight. GC Busan were ready to get their ultimates, especially looking for that shatter from Ion. But it was Doha that pulled the trigger first, and Element Mystic will go for that flip.
I wonder if they even knew Doha was going to have that quick. I mean, he's even back again at 37% on his ult charge towards the next EMP. Fielder was way in the back line, couldn't even get his Transcendence up quickly enough to the main tank, the front line, to actually keep them alive. But now Busan Wave, they're out of support ults at the moment and have to deal with a huge assault from Element Mystic, who are stacked up.
It's going to be a grab versus grab, and you also have shatters that can be your plan B, your plan A, as GC Busan move towards the point. It's the Reinhardt duels that start us out, and ultimates keeping them sustained. Undine with the Transcendence, self-destruct, finds one. Brigida's out of the fight. GC Busan is weak. Ion is out. Free is there to finish it off. And GC Busan have just trying to equalize these numbers, but Element Mystic, they don't want to give this one up. They just invested the barrier to keep their backline alive, along with that EMP from Doha. So a very back and forth fight, but it's Mystic that will keep the point.
And we'll have to see these Reinhardts clashing now. You know, both these guys bringing in the Earth Shatter into this next fight. Not too much else available at the moment. You could see a very quick, approach from GC Busan Wave, who want to get in there very, very rapidly behind Delight, actually popping out his ultimate and getting them into position where they can set up a bash and just shatter right down.
Well, I do recognize Rally to me, but not in that language. First one, Takoyaki is down. No main shield for Element Mystic. Can they burn the time and extend this as much as they can? But GC Busan flipped it already, so it's cleanup time, and Ion swinging away.
Great speed engage. You have the rally go up, you speed boost with your Lucio, you dive right in. What is Takoyaki going to do in that situation? Well, he's going to fall right over. So big opening created there by your support players, and now GC Busan Wave looking to hold out, and it's going to be, of course, the Shatter still up and ready for Ion. So they could set that up once again.
A defensive position, that's great, but Element Mystic on this high ground, they might want to try and bait them into, keeping Ion out of line of sight so you can go for a sneaky shatter as they go around the corner. They might be expecting it. Leading the charge here will be Sparkle. They're ready for the engage, and they have Undine's Transcendence. If he's able to stay on the line and just dive from the shatter, slams it down, completely blocked. Now Mystic's chance to engage. They have EMP. Doha drops it, no shields. Ion explodes in the middle of that, looking for the hack to take away that Matrix also from Free. Now the EMP is worn out. GC Busan, though, their tanks are getting excessively low, and Mystic at the top of this fight. They throw out the grab here from Sparkle for extra measure, and that should be the one fight for them.
And we will see Element Mystic cleaning up, but GC Busan Wave not backing down at all.
What? How did they just turn that around? This is what I mean. So back and forth. They don't disengage. If it's a 3 versus 3, you go in and you go hard. 100 to 84 will start us off for GC Busan.
How did GC Busan Wave do that? I mean, the sound barrier comes out from Daydream. It's enough sustain to keep them alive at that point. But, I mean, at the beginning there, great patience, great discipline being displayed by Element Mystic. You saw them just biding time, allowing Doha to build up that EMP. Great opening. They killed Ion instantly. That's a huge advantage. They should be able to easily finish the fight out from that. But GC Busan Wave sticking things out, maintaining their composure, keeping an even footing, and somehow able to turn that fight back around. Now have that 1-0 advantage up over Element Mystic going into Gardens here, where we're going to be seeing that Winston come out from Ion.
Interesting pick here, trying to see if he can dive into the backline, create some space, and also the Winston bubble used to cut off the healing from the rest of the team, but he has to have that moment engage with Free by his side, Edison with the bubbles, and you can see they're pressuring them already into this house, and this might be a tough position for Element Mystic to be, but when you have a Reinhardt that can swing away, it's not something that Ion really wants to dive into with that limited ceiling, so they're going to concentrate now towards the point.
Yeah, and Ion doesn't really get the value he wants after his first jump, so the reset's going to be very difficult for GC Busan Wave.
Oh, and he gets hacked. No bubble, no hop, and actually no focus coming from Element Mystic after that hack. You need to call these out. Doha getting closer to an EMP. The cap does go through for GC Busan. They did lose Edison, so Element Mystic now have a moment to engage, waiting for Doha, but they actually don't even need that EMP now that they've taken care of Free, and Edison's just getting back to the fight.
This is that level of game knowledge that you expect to see of a team of this caliber, and it's no wonder why they were so good last year and why they can't, you know, there's no wonder why they can't be that good again, right? I mean, so clever the way that they utilized the map to get away from Ion. He wasn't able to get any value on that Winston, and they shut down the reset. As soon as Ion was forced to pull back before he could get his second leap, they were just right down his throat, and Element Mystic once again stacked up with a ton of ultimates before this next fight.
Yeah, pick your poison. EMP, usually EMP Shatter, but they're going to see if they can finish it off here. But the Transcendence from Fielder does keep them topped up, able to stay out of line of sight. Now the rally from Delight, but wasn't able to save Ion, who was so close to that Primal, which could have kept him alive. Shatter down from Takoyaki, but it's the barrier that comes out that keeps GC Busan sustained. All 3 support ultimates from this team, but can they flip this fight? They cannot kill Takoyaki now that he has the barrier.
Oh, they're really going for it. They threw down the Graviton. Takoyaki going to try to sustain in it, and he does have the support of his Zarya. They're going to answer with one of their own.
This Ion just wants to be a happy monkey, but he's grabbed. And look at this kill feed now for Element Mystic. It's just so back and forth between these teams. But unfortunately for GC Busan Wave, they weren't able to get any percentage points off that. And that was just such a long, drawn-out fight.
And on top of that, they reset ult economy and maintain their charge on their Zarya. So going into this next fight, you know, if GC Busan Wave tries to get aggressive, what they're going to want to do is set off that Diva Bomb and go right for Takoyaki. But Takoyaki could answer instantly with an Earth Shatter should he see that.
Maybe. Fielder on the Ana is also a swap. That's interesting to see. Maybe looking for the Nano to power up Ion. Oh, what a stun. Takoyaki gets the bubble, survives, and takes care of Ion. No mean shield here for GC Busan, and the rest are soon to fall at 90% for Element Mystic, possibly sending us into a round 3. GC Busan have to reset quick, and someone's got to be ready to touch.
Great vision from Takoyaki, and we will get the touch coming in from Daydream, trying to stay alive, and he will do just that for quite some time.
Woo! That's the emergency Hammond coming in. Looks like the rest of the team will be 6 versus 5, but the grab right at the window, preventing GC Busan from doing anything. Now taking a different approach. Fielder does find one, but I'm not sure this will be enough, especially with Free so low. Doha EMPs like the last remaining member of GC Busan. Now we got emergency Hammond back to stall out some more, but Element Mystic got leftover ultimates, and they're sending us into a round 3 after that 100-14 win.
Well, GC Busan Wave displayed some heroics on Night Market. Not enough, though, to turn that one around. It would have taken a lot of heroics to get that second round. But as we move now into Control Center, Element Mystic have stuck and kind of clung to this Sombra so far in this matchup. But now GC Busan Wave, you know, something that we've noticed already this season is that, you know, they have a lot of versatility from a role that you don't really see too much until kind of recently. which is their off-tank role. Free has played McCree, he's played Sombra, he's played Diva, and now he's pulling out a Mei here on Control Center. And they're going to play this Mei comp right out of the gates. I really like that here on Control Center. It's just going to be a question of how you're going to deal with the Sombra when that guy just comes out of stealth.
And the Blizzard too. It's the efficiency of these walls matters too. You don't want to have a wasted wall. That whole point of the Mei is to divide and conquer this team. As they take towards server side, Element Mystic are on the opposite side.
And there's the wall. They're going to look to engage on Takoyaki, but he swings his way back around the other side.
Well, that's good. He didn't get frozen too. Briggs are traded out. You don't want to overextend, but Ion Shield is low. Both Ryans were so low and out of the fight. It's 4 versus 4, but Free has found himself into the backline onto the supports, and you got to be careful of a Mei. You do not want to get close to that one, but it will be GC Busan taking that first cap.
It's so hard when you have a Mei just altering the geometry of the map, and especially when you're a Zen, you can't climb over a wall like a Lucio can, so you're just stuck there. And you can't do anything. You can't move. But nonetheless, Free, because he popped off, look at that Blizzard charge. 92%. He's going to use it in this next fight.
Oh, it's going down. The Blizzard on the field and the wall to keep them from running away from it. Undine is frozen, somehow hasn't died. Sparkle tries to protect him, but this fight is already a 2-for-1. EMP thrown from Doha. You can see how much these teams want to win these fights. They don't disengage when they're down. They try to make these miracles happen. And look at this, a Grav now thrown from Sparkle. The EMP and Grav thrown. 3 or 4, 5 players left from GC Busan, and they keep the point despite that volley of ultimates Element Mystic just threw.
You couldn't ask more from Free. You just simply couldn't ask more from Free at this stage because, you know, look at that charge back again at 50%, but a great wall even to deny Sparkle's Graviton. They're able to engage once again aggressively.
Okay, a little bit of a missed wall. Shatters. Ion still has a shatter as well. He's got the barrier C, and we got a pause.
I think what's happening
all that
here
momentum was building, you know?
Element Mystic, you know, they're just sitting there like, okay, you know what needs to happen. We're getting frozen left and right. Oh, my whole screen froze. Now I have to take a tactical pause. How are we going to deal with this Mei, guys? What's going on? Because, I mean, again.
Time out. How do we kill Free?
My screen froze. I have to drop. So,
I got hacked.
Again,
my game.
How do we deal with this Mei, though? For real. Because Free is doing so much right now. He's getting a lot of value out of this Mei pick, and typically you see, you know, the Mei falling behind a little bit in terms of ult charge. That is one of the negatives of that character, is that it does take some time to build up the ult charge, but in these triple tank, triple support compositions or variations thereof that we're getting in these matchups, it doesn't take as much time. And especially if you have someone like Free who's able to get into the backline, really dish out a lot of pressure and not having to shoot into as many shields, he's actually getting meaningful damage and finding value with this Mei pick and getting those blizzards quickly and denying a lot of opportunities from players like Sparkle on the Zarya.
I'm a little concerned for Element Mystic's ult usage though. Using both an EMP, if EMP doesn't win you a fight, are you really going to invest a Grav like in a 3 versus 3? Maybe it'd be better once you get your whole 6 to put in that damage of the Grav, because the Grav's great, but you need team members to put the damage into it. So I'm a little bit worried about EMP and Graving and losing a fight here for Element Mystic, and dealing with Mei is still an issue for them. Do you match the Mei, or do you change your focus fire?
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly like Graviton, right? Where it can win you a fight with just that one ultimate, but it still requires some follow-up. You can't just have an EMP. You need to be able to get in there and do the damage. It's going to enable you to do something, but it's not going to do everything for you. But they're keeping the Sombra here, 70% towards that EMP, and they're going to need it quickly. It's already 85% for GC Busan Wave.
Another Blizzard comes out, the wall to trap them into it. Element Mystic are already split. Look at this Reinhardt Takoyaki by himself. You got 2 supports down, everyone frozen in place. 95% plus. No way Element Mystic touched this or even flipped this. Doha so late to the party, he didn't even get his invitation. And GC Busan 100-0, flipping this one around to take the first map.
Yeah, everybody at that party had cleared out the pizza, they cleared out the cake, they cleared out the champagne. Everything was
party's
gone
already
by the
over,
time.
Doha's like, hey,
I'm here.
Partying, yeah? I'm
here.
Just,
I mean,
it sucks.
Nonetheless, though, Free I think, honestly, going into this game, he was one of my players to kind of keep an eye on. Edison, it was talked about going into this season as probably one of the bigger impact players for this team. But Free showing off his versatility, coming in for this team, pretty new now. I really think that Free is really stepping out at the moment and showing off what he's capable of.
Well, GC Busan up by 1, but we got more maps to go. Kings Row coming up, and we'll be back after the short break. Welcome back, everybody, to Contenders Korea. GC Busan Wave versus Element Mystic. Words. It's 3 a.m. I'm allowed, okay? So, that first map was interesting. Lijiang Tower, 2-1 for GC Busan Wave, but it was super back and forth. 100-84 for GC Busan, 100-14 for Element Mystic, who just completely turned things around, and then 100-0 on that last control center. What did you think?
Well, I mean, it really seemed as though GC Busan Wave got off on the right track, right? I mean, control map types are all about making sure that you get off on the right foot, then you build momentum, and then it sets you up for success later on. GC Busan Wave started things off on Night Market, set them up for success because they were able to have that moment for Heurix where Element Mystic probably should have been able to actually take Night Market, and it should have been all said and done on Gardens, but GC Busan Wave started things off right, and they did just the same on Third Point. Came out with a composition that probably should have been seen coming and maybe adjusted to at some point or another. But I mean, when they bring out the Mei and it's going to be free on it, it's going to be tough to deal with that, especially with how well they ran it, how well they were peeling for one another, and how aggressive they looked, where it seemed like Element Mystic weren't really able to do too much punishment. Something, again, that I think a lot of teams are looking out for in these GOAT style matchups is being able to be reactive and be able to punish teams that come at them.
I just haven't seen that, that team clearing EMP from Element Mystic. They pop that EMP. It almost seems like in desperation after option A, B, C, D, E, F, G kind of ran out. And it feels a little bit panicked, right? You're in a 3 versus 3. You had Grav and EMP come out on Control Center not at the same time, but within the same fight for Element Mystic. So I had already said I was a little bit concerned for their ultimate usage. The only thing I was concerned about from GC Busan's side, yeah, they're up by 1. But when they ran Ion on Winston, that's the map that they lost on Gardens, is when they had Ion on Winston. And having that dive goats with Winston against the Sombra, I think could be problematic for them. Do you agree or disagree?
I think the biggest factor with the Winston setup, and we can talk about this as we're going to be going into Kings Row, it's likely that we're going to be seeing a lot more Reinhardt, and I think, given the fact that it is these, congested, very singular level kind of maps, that's the kind of thing that you see on Gardens as well. And looking back at that, you can see how Element Mystic played inside of that house on the side, where they denied Ion the ability to actually go in there and actually get some cleave damage. He wasn't able to build Primal. They came out and they poked, forced him to get his reset, as you do on that Winston Goat setup. You have to go in, poke, then you come back, you get your reset, and then you go for your hard dive, try to build Primal, win fight, and go momentums from there. But right down their throats. So you're going to be seeing some Ryan versus Ryan here in this next Kings Row map, more than likely. Maybe some interesting stuff, though. You know, we see a lot of Sombra on this map as well.
Oh, for sure. Doha has only been playing Sombra so far, so it's going to be something they're playing around. That's his thing. That's his thing. Yeah, Ion on that Winston, I think it might be a little bit harder to protect yourself from getting hacked. You saw Ion kind of getting a lot of that focus from the hacks, and also, you know, having your barrier, your bubble on cooldown versus Reinhardt that can just 360 and try not get hacked might be a little bit more efficient. Doha, there you go. I knew you were going to play Sombra, buddy. I knew you're doing it, but I'll let you go.
Interestingly enough, though, Jen, you see a lot of teams actually playing the Sombra on defense as opposed to the offense. And we talked about this a little bit, but you know, on defense, I really like the way that Doha plays this specifically, because what he does is he, you know, as the team attacking does start, you know, waltzing into the point, naturally you're going to see that backline kind of tailing behind, and Doha just jumps right in, forces, you know, someone to have to deal with peeling for their Zenyatta fielder, you know, someone like Daydream, Delight, maybe even their diva that they're not even running here. So it's going to be Daydream or Delight. Already a pick! Even though they can't do it now.
Get dinked, bro. Oh my god, fielder. Okay. So Doha's had that issue on Li Shang too, of kind of dying first. And with that, they'll get 2 free first hits. Element Mystic, though, we'll wait for him to get back, and they should have one last engage.
Yeah, and that's where Reddit just posts a comment like, oof.
Or they just,
they lost an entire point because Doha stood still on a balcony at gates opening on Sombra and just took a right click to the dome.
He's scouting, bro. You thought he was invisible. You thought he had
getting intel, getting intel.
Intel, I'm dead.
Mercy, Res, hello?
I thought maybe Element Mystic could have at least wasted some time in a 6 versus 5. They love kind of engaging fights that they are down in, so a little bit surprised to not see them engage, but now trying to work on holding this archway. Doha dead again. How is this happening? And now Element Mystic just getting run over.
Well, the thing there too is that Element Mystic backed off pretty much immediately and denied ult charge being built by GC's Busan Wave, and we're just going to go for that gate hold. But you know, when they actually attacked in the archway, it was fairly even outside of Fielder versus Undine due to the fact that Fielder did have that pick under his belt, but Element Mystic just crumbled. No control immediately. Doha wasn't even able to get into position, and you can see him again almost ripped down a 3rd time, and we've only been in this map for like a minute.
Doha's not allowed to be invisible. He keeps getting little amounts of splash damage here and there. But this is actually a speed run. Finally, you get actually an EMP from Edison, and this completely blows up Element Mystic, who just they're not allowed to play Overwatch, because that's already point B for GC Busan.
Yeah, this is actually not Contenders Korea. This is actually Games Done Quick.
This is R-rated Overwatch.
Thanks for jumping into our stream here. Be sure to donate. Though GC Busan Wave, 6 minutes on the timer now. Edison, he's on this Sombra, and he's looking for Undine. That's his prey that he's stalking at the moment. And Doha just trying to get an EMP out.
Trying to do something. There's the Transcendence perfectly countering that one. Combined with the Shatter from Takoyaki, gets a few down, but not the engage necessarily either team we're looking for. Now the grab here from Free. Not as high energy as he would like to dump a bunch of DPS in. No players have actually gone down until the offensive team have lost their main. Reinhardt grabs, EMPs, you name the ultimate. It's been dropped in this fight. And Element Mystic will win their first defense here on Kings Row.
Incredibly important fight for them too, because as they come away from this, they actually pulled everything away from GC Busan Wave. They're not going to have anything up their sleeves for this next attack, and they're just going to be in a building phase for quite some time. Maybe they can play off of an EMP, but Doha's was really solid to set them up in that last fight, and maybe a little bit of mistake from their support play to actually get them into position and get that sound barrier down as well early enough to save Ion. That might have been a big difference maker, but now they're going to have to play this well.
Doha closer to the EMP, getting ready to drop it. Comes down from the sky like a bird, and GC Busan take the back foot, but they've already lost Ion. They've lost so much, half of their team, in fact, and that's 2 consecutive wins for Element Mystic, but now there's an EMP coming up for Edison.
We'll have to see what he's going to be able to find with this, because we could see Unique and Undine able to kind of sniff this one out, say, hey, you know, I'm betting he has this available now, and they can just hide one of their support players and then come out swinging with one of their support ults, easily be able to sustain long enough to get Sparkle's Graviton out and win that fight as well. Element Mystic in a very, very solid position right now if they keep their support players safe.
You can see Unique, he's hiding out of line of sight. He's going to be ready with that barrier, and Undine would love to get the Transcendence. He spots the Zenyatta, great hack, but Unique was there with the barrier, out of line of sight. That ultimate awareness you're talking about, so big here for Element Mystic. Now in the upper hand of the fight, it's always the Reinhardts dropping first, and they seem they've warded off GC Busan for the moment. Yeah,
big shout out to the production team for giving us that point of view as well. That's top level production. That's what you expect from KR as well. But Element Mystic once again in the driver's seat, as is the case for the last 3 fights now, as they've once again built into this level of efficiency that you're wanting to see from a team of this caliber, a team with this much of a prolific history. You want to see them succeed in these situations, and that's exactly what they're doing. GC Busan Wave, they have Fielder now on the Ana.
And Doha's ready with the EMP, and the stun onto Ion instantly bursted down, hunting for more blood. And GC Busan just haven't gotten an offense going in quite some time. Yeah, it was a speed run. Didn't even have time to read donations. That's how quick it was to get to point C. But now they are just stalled out and can't get anything going, but they got 3 minutes, so.
All they've been doing the last couple of minutes is just reading donations. They haven't been able to get any progress at all, and Doha now in the back line has definitely found a way to really kind of spark some aggression into the back line, and GC Busan Wave have really been forced to deal with this.
All right, the grab now here from Sparkle. Support ultimates waiting. EMP now dropped from Edison. See if this offense can build any momentum. Edison has a heart attack and he's out of the fight. Free as well. Low energy for this offensive team that just keep getting reset after reset. And look how many ultimates they use, and they still can't get on that gas pedal.
So typically when you want to go for an EMP shatter, you want to make sure that you EMP and your Rhine shatters, not your Rhine shatters and then you EMP. It's the wrong way to go about it, but either way, GC Busan Wave are going to recognize that it's just not working. They're going to make an adjustment, and now we're going to see them swap over to that standard triple tank, triple support, going into that EMP setup that's once again going to come out.
There's just an EMP every fight. Can GC Busan play the game? At least they had the barrier ready, but Ion's always the first target of focus here from Element Mystic. Now they're tired of resetting. 6 versus 5. They tried to maybe see if they can play this out, but they're already trying to reset, and Element Mystic are chasing them down. Freeze in a corner for some reason, and that's free ult charge here for this defense.
And it's expected that since they did just swap 2 of their players, it's going to take some building time to actually build up the momentum that they need to actually start surging forward. Even in this coming fight, they could actually hit another brick wall, but the one after that should be decent for them unless they can use this next one to build rapidly due to the Transcendence that's going to keep them sustained.
Yeah, minute 10, at least they were able to reset Sparkle's energy, throws out the grab here. GC Busan are ready with Fielder's Transcendence. They do stay alive for the moment. As the Brigida rallies that start us off meters away here for GC Busan. Element Mystic want to send this into overtime, and Doha uses the EMP, wards off GC Busan, who do not want to engage here without Ion, without their main shield.
They're going to be able to isolate this Diva, but still going to be caught there. GC Busan Wave firing back.
Okay, I see you grab Edison. Not feeling the Sombra. Now you gotta, what is 60? Going on? GC Busan, they look like they reset, and then they're like, no, it's winnable, winnable, winnable. And now Ion is back, meters away. Element Mystic now have to stall this out. 25 seconds. Can you send this into overtime? Transcendence at the ready. There is just nothing left here for Element Mystic. But what a defense that we saw. That was like, what, 5 minutes at point C that we've been at?
Yeah. Like actually 5 minutes, like almost 6 minutes. That's insane. Though they do still finish with time, so that's good for you know, their futures. They can at least find some solace in the fact that should it go to extra rounds, they'll have a shot. And we'll have to see how that pans out, though, as Element Mystic Oh, there was the 360 play that I caught. Unfortunately, not as much value as they were looking for, but flashy. And, you know, that's someone we were talking about before. Takayaki is going to be one of those tank players that everybody should be talking about. Just unfortunate that overall their team performance hasn't allowed him to shine. And I think that was a perfect indication of exactly what I'm talking about, where Takayaki makes a flashy play and nothing happens.
But talk about a turnaround for Element Mystic, just getting run over. You had Doha, who got sniped from Fielder, not on Widow, but on Zenyatta. And Doha was just getting repeatedly killed up until point C, where he put his big boy pants on and said, I'm going to EMP every fight and we're going to win. And that's what happened. And then GC Busan had Edison, who, yeah, had some EMPs, but wasn't getting the momentum that the offensive team were looking for.
Yeah, I think Edison was struggling at point C to actually be as oppressive in that particular stage of the map. It's a little bit more difficult. You know, you get the high ground, you can lay down some hacks, but the D.Va's always going to be jumping over to you as well. Hanbin was making sure that he could do that. You know, you can even get involved in that fashion as well. But Element Mystic, we're going to see them coming out, of course, with that Sombra Goats. GC Busan meeting it in turn, and they're just going to be clashing head to head. But I'm curious to see the approach that Edison takes here. Definitely going to be playing a little bit more reserved than you're going to be expecting to see someone like Doha, but still going to be in the backline already.
Oh, getting that hack onto Undine, looking to engage off of that, and he almost got sniped. You have to be careful. Fielder scares me. And any player should be scared of him, but the rest of his team are pretty low. Now it's to focus on healing. 2 down, make it 3 for GC Busan, and Element Mystic are going to get the point as quickly as GC Busan did on their offense.
Yeah, and if you're watching at home and you're looking at Edison's play and you're like, I wonder why that didn't work out. Well, here you go. Don't you ever right-click and hack a Zenyatta. Best case scenario, you're getting out a Discord orb and a Harmony orb that are probably already out anyways. And the better approach would be to actually get the hack off on someone like a Lucio or someone that's going to peel for the Zenyatta so you can actually get out more pressure. And he did not do that, unfortunately, though. Edison is going to be coming back in, looking for the opportunity to put some more pressure down onto Undine and see if he can spark something a little bit better than he did in that first fight for his team.
Sparkle's way farther ahead here of this grab game. This will be kind of what will open up half a point B here for the offense, or sparkling amounts of energy just lasers down already the front line of GC Busan, and not even needing a single ultimate. And what's great about an ultimate-less fight is that now they can just stack all of these for their point B take.
Yeah, and now we just have a contestant kind of coming forward into this race for who can finish the map faster. And Element Mystic, you know, they're going to be trying to take advantage of this momentum that they've built for themselves, and it's a lot there. Unfortunately, though, GC Busan Wave, they're going to be coming up with some things of their own, and it's just going to be a battle of who can execute the best. Although Element Mystic, you can see their Sombra already up on that high ground.
Oh god, there's 2 EMPs online, a grab from Sparkle, you got Shatters about to... It's really who's gonna pull the trigger first, as you said. Getting closer and closer, the EMP from Doha drops first, and equal EMP from Edison as Element Mystic go to engage, but that kill feed is all in green here for this offensive team. Similar speed run, and that payload will get to point B.
We'll see them get the added time. Just a little bit slower than GC Busan Wave, who effectively just walked it right on in.
Right.
You know, just taking their dog for a walk, just casually taking a stroll through King's Row. But Element Mystic, they utilized 3 ults in that last fight. They're going to have 3 coming into this next one. GC Busan with 5, but still struggling to find a footing in this match so far.
First grab here from Free. Edison didn't have the self-destruct. They see if they can put enough damage into it, but Unique was ready here with the barrier. Oh, a follow-up shatter from Takoyaki and Ion. I apologize, as Element Mystic. They take a back foot. They're kind of waiting this one out, seeing if they find a moment of opportunity, looking for either Sombras, or actually only one Sombra now. Edison is back on the D.Va, but Doha drops the hack, and now they're looking to run over GC Busan, who just have no abilities and no way out.
And now we're going to see them just trampling them, and I really like the play there. Doha getting very aggressive, diving in, forcing some pressure onto Ion. They've been putting all of the pressure onto Ion so far in their attack, and Ion has not been able to do anything at all because of just the relentless assault against him in every single one of these fights.
Grab versus grab. It's going to be Sparkle first, and Free dies after I believe he threw out the grab. But Element Mystic are so aggressive. This is a much more successful offense that we've seen from GC Busan, who just could not hold up against that, just all this aggression. And Element Mystic gonna take this payload home. 4 minutes and 12 time bank versus what, the 12 seconds on the other side?
Yeah, it was like 12
Oof.
seconds, 19 seconds, something like that. I think 19 seconds is what rings the bell for, yeah, 19 seconds. There you go.
You
but
got me.
4:53 is the adjusted time bank now versus the 1 minute adjusted that is given to GC Busan Wave. And they were good on their first 2 points, although you have to wonder if maybe that was very momentum based due to the mistake made early on by Doha and his positioning on the balcony. Very early in that fight, you know, then it's a little bit rough to actually try to take a fight in that archway there as well, where GC Busan Wave are able to get very aggressive. They're able to start pushing that payload through, and they can kind of take the fight the way that they want to, especially when their Zarya can poke the way that he wants to as well. So if Element Mystic don't have that mistake, maybe they have a better showing on first point defense.
We can tell that just Element Mystic are much more comfortable on this Sombra Go. It's Edison, you know, known for his Genji, known for Zarya. We haven't seen Sombra Goats from GC Busan, so maybe you're seeing this just not working out for them. He's hovering over the McCree at the moment, but they might just be forced to match Doha Sombra.
I'm actually curious why it's taken this long for them to pull this out, because this is typically their answer to Sombra Goats. I mean, they've seen Sombra Goats, they've dealt with Sombra Goats, and this is how they've done it. They haven't done it as much with Sombra Goats matching themselves, especially against a team that has gotten better and better since, you know, that week 1 matchup that Element Mystic had where they struggled versus Sombra. But now, bringing out the McCree, we'll have to see what this can get done. You know, Edison on the McCree, he tends to take flanking routes, but this time I think he's going to be really want to take high ground and then sticking with the team, forcing pressure onto players like Takoyaki.
So no Diva, you sacrifice that for the McCree, and he's going to be focused here onto the high ground. Might get some nice stuns here. He does land one onto Takoyaki, but they have to actually pressure the point. And they've already lost their Zenyatta, not a great start. You don't have that Diva that can help your backline or give any sort of pressure or any sort of changing of decisions here for Sparkle on the Zarya when he wants to throw out that grab.
And Unique up on the high ground, hunts down Edison. Takes him down to a bunch of headshots, actually.
6 seconds.
To Edison, but yeah, they have to get on the point now.
Okay, Ion's there. Free is there as well. No ultimates on the board. It's just been unsuccessful so far. Element Mystic holding this defense. Only a minute here for GC Busan, and I think they had the right approach of going to the high ground, trying to set up Edison, but I don't think they were expecting such an aggressive Lucio such as Unique.
Yeah, and I'm curious about the McCree setup on attack now that I'm like, you know, really thinking about it, because
wait a minute.
What you want to do with that McCree is get that McCree into a position where either A, he's on high ground and he's forcing pressure down and they can't deal with them because they're running that triple tank, triple support, or B, you're forcing, you know, a lot of aggressions on that lower ground level, just straight right to the Reinhardt, pull that barrier out from the Zarya, and then the Reinhardt Takoyaki has no protection at that stage. But, you know, they didn't do really either of those. They tried to set up Edison up on the high ground, but they also kind of did like this waterfall approach, trying to drop down over to the telephone booth, and that clearly was not the play because Element Mystic was lying in wait, ready to just dive on anybody that went down there. Fielder definitely caught that one with the boop that I believe came out from Unique. So I don't know, very kind of awkward approach there.
Well, let's say you think about the utility that a McCree brings. Already, he tried to go for some stunts to open up Takoyaki's shield, but what happened is that Sparkle just bubbled him. So kind of that utility of the stun that McCree brings, you just gotta bubble whoever gets stunned and you're most likely fine. And McCree maybe not putting out as much damage, so you're trying to find some picks into the backline, but Edison might want to look for something else. Onto the Hanzo. Element Mystic now 4 minutes and 51 to get 33% on the point.
Yeah, we will see them going right on in, and they are going to be pulling out Edison on the Hanzo for now, defensively, trying to get those easy clears with the Dragon Strike into the Graviton, but hey, you got to build that thing first before you can start utilizing it.
He's trying to find some shots in here and pressure these supports, and the Sombra from Doha is also going to harass him. You do not want to get close to those Storm Bows, though, but you only have 33%. You cannot afford to lose anyone. One-to-one trade, no Reinhardts. Element Mystic have those closer spawns, though, but you got Sparkle with 100 energy that's just lasering everybody. Now that there's no shield, not a lot of protection, Element Mystic really just got to walk onto this point, but GC Busan trying to regenerate their health, and Element Mystic not necessarily walking forward yet.
Look at the grab charge on Sparkle already, though. They can just wait for that last respawn to come up from... There's Zenyatta. Undine definitely can get to that fight rather quickly, and there's no way that Free's going to be able to get that charge before Sparkle lays down the grab. It's just going to be a question of if they have the support to sustain through it.
No diva to eat any of that. Grab thrown in. You've only lost Delight. Still a winnable fight. Fielder's going to use the Transcendence Element. Mystic waited out. Shatter goes down. It is blocked. Dragon Strike through the field. And you see Undine uses that Transcendence, keeps the rest of his team alive. Up by 2. Element Mystic now just have to pocket Takoyaki, who gets the 3K. Element Mystic now will even up the series after that win on Kings Row.
Great denial there from Element Mystic. Doha shutting down the sound barrier to come out at that ideal stage, but Element Mystic closing things out. Again, that pacing from Sparkle on the Zarya to get the Graviton down that early really set them up, gave them a huge advantage in that fight. And hey, maybe Element Mystic would have gotten a little bit earlier if they were able to put just a little bit more pressure onto that Reinhardt shield so that Takoyaki could actually find value with the Earth Shatter, but nonetheless, they could get the job done.
Halftime, we've got a series on our hands, boys. It's 1-1 between Element Mystic and GC Busan Wave. It's halftime, so we're going to send it to a quick break, and we'll see you guys for map 3.